How do you feel about certain, like, white folks and other people who try to like downplay slavery and the history of black people in this country and kind of try to act like it never happened?
We, my thing nowadays, brother, you don't waste 1 second with those people. We just make sure that we are teaching our children. It is up to us to teach our children the real history of our people in this country and in this world. It is up to us, and we can do that next month. We can do it in churches. We can do it in organizations. We can do it in. We don't have to. If we don't want to, we don't have to try to get the public schools to do it because they're not going to do it. That's why remember I told you back earlier. Those nuns and those Catholics who started those schools because they knew that no matter what they did, in those public schools, they were always going to teach history from a British perspective. No matter how much they fought for it, what they did, and then they end up getting beat up and all that kind of stuff, kicked out and all that kind of stuff. So what they did, they set up their own public school system, parochial school system. That's how it came about. We got to do the same thing. Now we don't have to set up a whole school, but we need to have in our communities, every major black community should have a place where black youngsters can go and learn in our history.
How important is that for us to have?
Extremely important. Extremely. And until we do that kind of thing, we're going to be constantly kind of flowing back and forth and flowing, going up and down like we're doing now. Because the public schools are not going to teach our history. And it's a waste of time. Now, you can make sure that they don't teach some of the most outrageous stuff that they used to teach. But they ain't going to never teach the real deal about our history. We got to do it. Like I said before, man, the Catholic nuns came about because those the Irish Catholic nuns came because the British were teaching. They didn't realize you can't depend on the British to teach Irish history to our students. So we should learn a lesson from that, if nothing else. These are white folks doing it. So you know what they're going to do when they're dealing with black folks. We have got to develop concrete ways. And just having a Black History Month 1 month out of the year, that's not enough. We should have a system where our children can go twice a month and study our history for all year long, except maybe 1 month in the summertime when they get out. But all year long, they should be able to go twice a month and be taught history. Now they may be able to study English, not English, math, in those other places. But we're going to have to teach our children our history, and we better understand that.
How did you feel about like different films, like say like a Roots that came out that like showed slavery and the history of it on in television and film? How do you feel about things like
I
that?
thought that Ruth, I thought that Ruth, considering all things, I think they did an excellent job. All things considered, it was about the truest thing that has been done in this country uh, from a film perspective about the viciousness of enslavement. I think that, but of course, even then, you have some things, you say, oh yeah, right. But generally, I think the movie Sankofa, which is done by this brother who runs this place here in D.C. called Sankofa, which he did a movie called Sankofa. That's a great movie that shows you again about the history of our people. This is Sankofa. These were African people from Ethiopia, and what happened to them, and everything. So we must develop a system and a way to teach our children our history. It is the everybody, every group of people, and that includes white folks. They don't want nobody. You know how they might mumble about it, but when you start talking about changing history, man, they go crazy
Yeah.
because they know the important. They know that this history they've taught us. How can you teach somebody to praise Thomas Jefferson and George Washington when each one of those men owned over 200 African men, women, and children.
Right. They even have a statue of him in the African American Museum.
That's what I'm saying. And I would have a statue of him there. But when I'm talking about it, but when they talk about it, they don't tell the truth.
Right. That's true.
And I used to be very hard on that museum, but I say, there's some other things there that are really very good. So what you have to do, you have to make sure when you go in there, they go in with somebody who will tell the real deal.
Right. Exactly.
You can't depend on the people whose job it is to do that, because they've been told what they got to do.
Right.
That's why when I went there, whenever I went there, and with my students, I took them. I didn't say turn them over to the guard. I was the one who took them around.
Yeah.
And I used to, boy, one of my students, who had gone, with a guard, and when I took them around, and he went with me. He said, "Professor Bailey, you didn't sound like that man who took us out of the." I said, "I'm not, because I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah.
I'm telling you the real history." So we have to understand the importance of that, and make sure that, like that, and give the museum a little bit of credit, because some things they do is really good, but they're only going to go so far.